Hey guys, and welcome in our studio. Today I want to introduce to you guys the new magnetic system from Rogue. Now, you may have heard the name Rogue before, and that's absolutely true. The Rogue Flash Bender, even Frank Dorov Flash Bender. Now, the Flash Bender is already a product that I really love to use with my speedlights. It's very flexible. You can do whatever you want, from soft light to very focused light, strip lights. You can even make a snoot out of it. It's one of my favorite modifiers. And one of the main reasons is actually it doesn't take up a lot of space in my bag. So when I go on location, I take 2 or 3 flash benders with me, with the strip attachment of course, and it will all fit in my bag. Even if the bag is almost full, there's always place for a flash bender. So this is why I'm very excited to introduce today to you guys a small package called the Rogue, magnetic kit. Now, let me start out by saying that there are a few magnetic kits on the market. Rogue is a little bit late to the game, and they have a reason for this. They listened to all the complaints that you guys had and they improved it in their system. And I can say they succeeded, because the system works like a charm. Now, a few days ago I did a digital classroom live stream with our model Nadine, and that was literally the first time I used the Rogue magnetic system. The reason for this is very simple. I want to make sure that you guys know how easy the system works. So even if you don't have any experience with it, it's so easy to use. So let's start by going through the components of the magnetic system. Now, first of all, the system is designed for the well-known round flashes. For example, the Profoto A series with a special adapter, of course Godox, and of course Westcott, and many other brands that use those small round strobes. But, as you know, I'm using the Nissin speedlights, and those are rectangular, so they're not round. So how do I fit the system? Well, that's actually why they have this very nice soft plastic adapter. Now, there are 2 ears on the adapter which you just pull, like with a little kid if he doesn't listen, and you just place it over your rectangular strobe. Now, there are 2 versions, the standard version and the small version. I'm using the standard version on my Nissin strobes, and it works like a charm. Now, by using this adapter, you now have the magnetic ring on top, and this is where you can start building your setup. So let's start with the dome. So the first product is actually the dome. It's made out of soft plastic and it makes the light diffuse. Now, we've heard that before, right? Beautiful, big light, like a big studio softbox, like never seen before. Yeah, it sounds all really great on paper. There's only one problem. You have a small light source. How the heck do you make that a big light source? That's impossible. You can bounce against the ceiling or a wall, but a small light source stays a small light source. Well, there's one solution for this. Make the light omnidirectional. Now, you might wonder, what is omnidirectional? Omnidirectional means that the light hits the subject from different angles. Now, when we look at a normal strobe, the light is almost always aimed straight in front. Now, when we look at an omnidirectional system, think about a light bulb. It emits light to every single side, and that means that a small light bulb can actually light a whole scene and, well, becomes a big softbox that way, if you use a little bit of diffusion material. And that's actually what the dome is. So if you have a strobe underneath your adapter, and then the light hits the dome, and because the dome is designed the way it is with the material, it actually makes that light omnidirectional. Now, during the live stream, I'm actually using it with gels, and this is where this system for me really shines. Now, of course, you can create beautiful beauty portraits with it because it is soft light, but it really shines when you start using gels and use it as a fill-in flash. For example, you place one flash bender or magnetic system on your model, and the other one you place with a strobe and of course with a gel a little bit lower than your main light, and you just open up the whole scene with, for example, blue or red. And that brings us to the next modifier, and that's actually the gel holder. So here we have the gel holder, but there's no gel in it, right? Well, they got you covered for that too. So this is the pouch with the creative kit. Now, in the creative kit you find several colors. Let me put it this way. If there's a color in there that you don't like, I'm not surprised. But if you can't find a color that you do like, I'm very surprised, because they give you a lot of choices. So let's just take it out of the holder. So it's all very nicely labeled. And one of the cool things about the gels is actually that they're made by Lee. And you all know Lee, right? Lee makes high quality filters. But one of the things that Lee is very famous for is they don't tear. And this is one of the problems you have with a lot of the cheaper gels. You use them for a few weeks and they already start to tear. Now, let me see if I can tear this one up. So I'm really doing my best now. And I'm making a little bit of a dent, but I just can't tear it. And I really tried. So I'm not going to try more. Maybe with scissors, but they're really sturdy. So how does it work? You just place them on here, You take your dome or whatever you want to use and you just click it on and that's it. Very, very simple, but very elegant solution, because now the blue gel becomes right omnidirectional. That's cool. Let's add one more thing to the gels, because I showed you the creative gel pack. But did it ever happen to you guys that you work on location, for example on the tungsten light, you use your strobes and you think like, hey, the colors look a little bit funky. That's right. Because your strobe uses a different color temperature than, for example, tungsten light or fluorescent lights. And this is where you need a color correction kit, CTO kit. Now, of course, Rogue also delivers, next to the creative kit, a CTO correction kit. And this means that if you do weddings or events, that you can literally balance your strobe to, for example, tungsten light or fluorescent light. So if you are an event photographer or weddings, or if you work on location a lot and you mix light sources, make sure you order the CTO kit. It's essential. So you really need it. Okay, so of course you want to focus your light, right? And this is where grids come in. So what is a grid? Well, a grid is a little bit like a honeycomb. And because the honeycomb focuses the light, it means that less light is hitting your model. So if you really like those vignetting images where you really just make the model jump out, like there's a spotlight on it, that's where you use the grids. Now, the beam of light is controlled by the amount of light, of course, that leaves that grid. And that's controlled by the honeycombs. So in this case, you can see the honeycombs, those are these little holes over there. And now you might wonder like, hey Frank, so you just show us one. Can you also vary this? Yes, you can. So if you want less light to hit your model, you simply make those holes smaller. If you want more light to hit your subject, you make those, well, bigger, right? It's very easy. But in this case, we only have one size. So how do we do it? There's another way. The whole thing is about steering that light and focusing that light. So you can do it with the holes in the honeycomb, but you can also just stack grids on top of each other. So for example, stack one grid on top of the other, and you make the beam a little bit smaller. Stack another one, and you make it even smaller. It's almost like a snoot now. And that's the nice thing about the magnetic system. It's strong enough that you can just keep stacking those grids. Now, personally, I would use probably 2 or 3, but not more, because it becomes a really, really focused beam of light. But it just points out how creative you can use this kit. Okay, let's click everything together. And I want to show you something else. Like, for example, this doesn't really work like it's a magnetic system. So make sure that you always do it like this. And you already hear it. It really clicks. So let's try to pull it off. And I can do it. Oh, yes, I can do it. But as you can see, it's very, very tough. And this is something that might worry you at first. Like, okay, so on location, when I want to change my gels, do I really have to do so much power on that set? Isn't that going to break my strobes? Well, it makes sure that it doesn't fall off your strobes, even if you move them around. But watch this. Now I hardly do anything. And I'm like, what's the difference? So when you do it straight, like this, now it really comes up really tight. But if you just skew it just a little bit, just under an angle, there you go. It clicks off really easy. So during the live stream, you actually see me changing grids and you see me changing gels on location very, very fast. And I think that's what I like about this system. It's not only flexible, but you can keep stacking grids. You can use gels, you can use the dome. You can even take the dome off if you want. If you just want to take it off the ring, no problem at all. Here you have the dome, here you have the ring. So whatever you want to do with the system, whatever you throw at it, combine it with the flash bender, and I guarantee you there's hardly any situation where you can't work. So I think this is the introduction of the new Rogue system, and as you can see, it takes up hardly any space in your bag. The converter is actually the biggest part, but let's say that you don't need the converter. Just click everything together. The dome you can literally just fold down, just put it in your bag, and that's about it. And you can work on location, and the dome just extends itself again. Very cool system, available now in stores and of course via our website. Do I see you shooting with Rogue very soon? I hope so. See you again next time. Bye guys.